area of people activity, from education, economics, entertainment, law, labor, politics, religion, sex, and war. All descendants of formerly enslaved African and black people are out of our minds, victims of bad but effective programming. All black people need physical and psychological assessments. That's bar none. And I know all is a word we have to be careful about using. But in this case, no. There's no black person that's exempt from being out of our minds. This collective institutional mindset will not be accomplished without institutional reorientation and development towards an Afro-Centered perspective guided by Mahdi's spirituality to combat black self-hate. This is my basic foundational assumption. If you've ever been to the Shrine of the Black Madonna, you've seen pieces of that in motion. These actions are best exemplified, institutional redefinitions of manhood using comprehensive historical timelines are needed, and so are the development of race-first, self-sufficiency, economic, educational, and health and wellness agendas that are practical and pragmatic for the masses of black people. If you've ever been to the Nation of Islam, you might know something about that as well. This deals with something called monkeys. Raise your hand if you're familiar with this treatment on monkeys. Raise your hand if you're familiar with it. Let me give you an idea of what we're talking about. There were 5 monkeys placed inside of a cage. And in this cage, there were some steps. At the top of the steps was a banana that hung from a string. And the 5 monkeys were placed in here and the gate was closed. So of course, when it was time to get hungry, one of the monkeys ran up the steps to get the banana, right? And when he ran to get the banana, a water hose hit him, knocked him off the steps, and then they started spraying all the other monkeys at the same time with this cold water from the water hose. So you can hear the monkeys crying in the corner. Ah, ah. Water just hit them, beating them up. Just like you saw in Selma, right? Sorry, was that Birmingham or was that Selma? Was that Birmingham where the water hose was going off? Okay, that they caught it on camera, right?
Yes.
Bull country. So then, that monkey didn't want to run up there no more. So then another monkey ran up there to go get the banana. When he ran up there, the water hose hit him. And after it hit him, they sprayed all the rest of them. And the monkey was in the corner screeching from getting hit with that cold water from the water hose. Then another monkey came and tried. Thought he was going to sneak up there, but there wasn't nobody looking. And when he went up there, the same thing happened to him. And so after that, anytime somebody tried to crawl up them steps to go get that banana, those 5 monkeys attacked that monkey. The 4 monkeys would attack the one that ran up. And so they start removing one monkey and place a new monkey in there. And the new monkey is hungry just like the rest of them are hungry and wonder why don't nobody go up there and get the banana. So the new monkey runs up the steps to go get the banana. And of course, what happens? The other one's attacking. They don't need no water hose. The other one's attacking. So then they take another one out. So now you got 3 old, 2 new. And the new monkey, of course, does the same thing that the other new monkey did. Runs up the steps. Before he can even get up to the steps to get to the top, the monkey's jumping. And the monkey that was new jumped him too. So now they take out one more. Now you got 3 new, 2 old, 2 original. And of course, this new monkey sees he's hungry, he wants to eat. Why are we starving? We got bananas up there. Monkey runs up there and the rest of them attack him. Gang tackle, whoop his butt, T-roll him. Finally, they get all the monkeys out. There's no original monkeys there. There's only new monkeys. Monkeys that were not part of the original experiment. And these monkeys attack every other monkey that tries to run up. And no matter how many new monkeys they put in, as long as they leave a certain percentage of the old OG monkeys in there, that attack always takes place. Needless to say, until we free our minds and reprogram our institutions to help us become Pan-African, we will continue to die.
Who conducted that experiment?
I cannot say who conducted that experiment, but it sounds like something that B.F. Skinner would do with behavioral psychology. So I don't know if that was a Skinner's experiment, but that is a Skinnerian experiment in terms of the modern day labeling of who the father of that branch of psychology is, which is behavioral psychology. B.F. Skinner was rather proficient in using animals to get certain points across about human behavior. Yes. Once again, the purpose of this presentation is to present an acceptable narrative worthy of emulation and adoption for achieving institutional implementation of my Adia as the foundation for a collective KRST Christ consciousness amongst participating black people. We want to tap into our divine consciousness, animate the Christ within, and grow a healing force of the greatest love. That's the purpose of this presentation. If anyone ever asked, well, what is this all about? He wanted to grow a force of the greatest love. A healing force of the greatest love. What is post-consciousness disorder? Does anybody ever wonder what is post-consciousness disorder? What does it mean to be conscious? What is a disorder? Well, post deals with after. Correct? Consciousness deals with aware, or just be aware. You can be conscious of the fact that you got to go to the bathroom. You can be conscious of the fact that you're hungry. You can be conscious of the fact that this is my mother and father, that that's a male and that's a female. That's just to be aware. And disorder, in this case, is Negro mess, or Negro messiness. Negro mess are these habits that are acquired as a result of being transformed from an African into a Negro, where you lose your land, your language, your customs, your diet, your folklore, your sense of familyhood, your sense of manhood and womanhood, your God sense, the connection of divinity to self. But if you need something a little bit more drastic, post-consciousness disorder is typified by heightened pseudo-intellectual tension and counterproductive paranoia based on the recent, for them, discovery of renewed acknowledgement and awareness of hidden information, especially if it's hidden, right? Esoteric knowledge. Information pertaining to black repression and inferiority under the domination of white supremacy. I'm going to go through that slow. Post-consciousness disorder is typified by heightened pseudo-intellectual tension and counterproductive paranoia based on the recent discovery or renewed acknowledgement / awareness of hidden information pertaining to black repression and inferiority under the domination of white supremacy. Have you ever seen these conspiracy theory nuts running around perhaps Houston, Texas, running around Jackson, Mississippi, running around New York, Buffalo, New York, Albany, New York, running around the tri-state area, running around Nevada, wherever black people are, talking about some Illuminati and some spaceships coming out the sky, some Rex 84, some concentration camps. Somebody gonna get you. The boogeyman is coming. Watch out, you better not read that. Watch out, you better not say that. Watch out, you better not do that. They gonna get you. Who is the they? The they represents the mindset of a monkey. That was part of that conditioning process. The monkey did not condition itself. The monkey is a victim of the conditioning. Conditioning is a system of reward and punishment. Conditioning fits under programming. It's not the totality of programming. You don't have to have reward and punishment to program. All right? You can do stimuli to get programming going on. Right? So when you see our people running around with that, and they are aware of information, but they are kind of fuzzy about what to do with it. There's no action plan. There's nothing that's solution-oriented related to that information. Negro mess plus 2 books and 3 lectures equals pro-black scholar, correct? Okay.
Speak on it.
Pause this again. Negro mess plus 2 books plus 3 lectures equals a pro-black scholar. I had to put a question mark right there so y'all wouldn't get confused and think that that's what I believe. Who think they know the way you should follow. Now they just learned this yesterday. They were deaf, dumb, and blind yesterday. They just learned about diet yesterday. They just read up on John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben yesterday. Ran into Malachi Z. York yesterday.
Speak on it.
Ran into my dear brother, Noble Throuh Ali yesterday. Marcus Garvey yesterday. Elijah Muhammad yesterday. And now they are the pro-black scholar. You You got to come on in with us. You got to be like us. You got to dress like us. You got to smell like us. You got to shop like us. You got to what? Think like us. Because we know we have all the answers. Oh, not me. I don't have all the answers. But my leader and my teacher, my great beloved, someone to uphold that I can live vicariously through. And now I, little old me, am tapped into black divinity through the vicarious living of someone else. And so, since you are not dressed like me, since you don't smell like me, since you don't walk like me and talk like me exactly the way I say it, tomatoes are not tomatoes unless you say tomato. Potatoes are not potatoes unless you say potato. I can't grasp my mind around that a potato is a potato is a potato. I prefer sweet potatoes and yams, but a potato is a potato. Tomatoes are tomatoes, even if you pronounce them tomatoes. They want to take you to some undefined place. You give me information, but where are we going with this? What does it lead to? What is the end point of this information? I can't tell you. You know why I can't tell you? I ain't finished the book. I don't know. I don't know. Am I going to tell you that I don't know? Will I tell you that my leader don't know who I live vicariously through? These folks who suffer from post-consciousness disorder spend more time in argument, debate, and general self-hate frustration than solution-oriented thought, activities, and building. That's true. This is not Mr. Parker, who builds up the Shape Center, takes the knowledge from Nguzo Saba, deals with the meiotic virtues, deals with other Pan-African scholar warriors, builds the Shape Community Center, starts it out small, gets the children involved, gets the parents involved, creates a curriculum that the children can have buy-in, has a culture of discipline to make sure that we have success. Because the 3 keys to success in any educational system are parental involvement, student buy-in, and a culture of discipline. He had all of that here.
Indeed.
Still does. He's not making this stuff up. He's operating into his black divinity. He's tapped in. Does he have to say Assalamu Alaikum in order to be successful? Does he have to say Assalamu Alaikum to prove that he's legit with what he's doing? Does he have to say Shalom, brother? Does he have to shake the forearm instead of the hand in order to be authentic? No. Y'all forgive me, my eyes watering.
Knowledge make you cry.
I wish it was tears. My whole point is, when you hear at the Shape Center, you can't help but to acknowledge that somebody figured out the solution and wanted to become solution-oriented. They didn't get stuck at the awareness part. They didn't get stuck at conspiracy theory. They didn't get stuck that you got to dress just like me, look just like me, be just like me in order to be true and authentic. If you catch what I'm saying. These folks, in their efforts to achieve black unity, have often focused more on verbal show and prove methodologies, featuring performance-oriented pontification rather than holistic healing, economic productivity, or community building. When you look at the Shrine of the Black Madonna with Bishop Jaramogi, Bishop Albert Cleage, you recognize someone who used Christianity to achieve a more Pan-African perspective, a more African-centered perspective. Now, we're not talking about perfection. What we're talking about is getting us closer to the ideal. And we have to acknowledge our institution builders who have gotten us closer to the ideal. While intensely focused, these post-consciousness disorder people, not Bishop Jaramogi, not Mr. Parker here. These post-consciousness disorder folks. Y'all don't know any. Raise your hand if you ever met a post-consciousness disorder. Not including the person in your mirror. Excluding the person in your mirror. Do you know any post-consciousness disorder folks? Some people suffering from post-consciousness disorder. Not the deaf, dumb, and blind folks who don't know. I'm talking about the folks who have come to know, but the degree to which they can operationalize what they know is limited in terms of producing solutions for black people's problems. Intensely focused on recruiting. Come on in and be with me. Come on in and be with us. By proving they are right. Whatever right is, right is the pamphlet, right is the book, right is the Bible, right is the lecture, right is the leader that I live vicariously through in order for me to be somebody, because I suffer from some ego issues. So I can live through somebody else, right? Right can be a number of things. Right don't have to be correct nor accurate. It's just right. It's just right. They look past communal healing as a highly valued goal and have thus omitted ma'at and or these principles as a very necessary tool for daily communal spiritual cultivation. The whole purpose of becoming Pan-African, once you become African-centered, is to cultivate the divine self within. You're supposed to tap into your black divinity. And it's not based on you pronouncing it tomato or tomato. It's getting the juice and the healing within the tomato. It's the principles. Can we live the principles? Can we implement and operationalize the principles? Can we connect on the principles? And the principles of Ma'at have proven themselves throughout time. Many of our people are passionate, sincere, yet holistically ignorant and institutionally insufficient. Many of our people are passionate. They really love our people. They want to spit. They want to be down. They want to heal our folks. They are sincere. They're not looking to cheat our people, at least not initially. They're not looking to cheat our people. They're trying to get this knowledge and do something with it. They're trying to be productive to some degree, but they don't always know how. But holistically ignorant. Not only have they not studied the history of their own organization and its critics, the history of their family, they are holistically ignorant. They don't understand how everything fits together. And they're institutionally insufficient. They don't even understand the purpose of institutions. So therefore, even if they formed one, they wouldn't know how to do it correctly. They would form the institution based on their emotionality, not on that which would produce solutions to people's problems. And there's some basic things that you have to do, and it don't matter which group you're a part of, in order to do it. This that whole is the greater than the sum of its parts. But we're not going to overcome. We're not going to be able to work with things that are broken. We cannot seriously expect to unite anything fragmented which is broken from the inside out. We must first promote internal healing while shining a guiding light to higher truths and lending a helping hand of edification and uplift. That's a lot of words, but the whole point of that is it's all about us helping one another, lifting each other up from the inside out. We have to do tangible things to help our people. If we don't do that, then they don't know that we care. We can't just care on the inside. We have to care by what we do. We have to show the love that we say we have by what we do. We can't just think it. We can't just say it. We have to actually do it. Lacking this understanding, we thus see many self-educated yet unbalanced individuals who can drop knowledge, but lack the holistic stability to consistently handle the storms of life, especially when they are also connected and in many cases addicted as well as afflicted to racism and white supremacy. You ain't even freed yourself, and you up here berating me for not being free. You still addicted to white sugar, but you jumped on me about my diet. Once you conquer the diet thing, now it becomes a religion. And now you want to oppress me with the fact that you're vegan. And I'm not there yet. Being vegan is not a religion. You can do it religiously, but it's not a religion. Why should you use that to oppress me? You should be trying to figure out ways to help me incorporate more vegetables and fruits and water into my diet. And then you gradually get me to the point where I can appreciate being healthier as a result of more water and more vegetables and fruits in my diet. I still eat meat, but I eat more water, vegetables, and fruit. Then I start seeing the health benefits, and now I want to move closer to where you are. Why Ma'at? Historically authentic. It's a practical tool to tap into our divine black conscience, animate the KRST Christ within. Here's some books. We have to know our roots, know our ancestors, know the truth, and know thyself. I do Kwanzaa coordinating, so I had to put that in there. We got to be race first. We don't want to be what this represents, which is what? Different organizations of black people. Wapians, Moors, Hebrew Israelites, red, black, and green, fighting amongst each other foolishly, serving the interests of white supremacy. We should have Ma'at at the center of what we do. Not in terms that you have to always call it Ma'at. Because it's not enough to just repeat this stuff and know it better than someone, and then your grandmama who goes to church and worships the white Jesus on the wall with JFK and Martin Luther King lives the principles better than you do. She'll share with the crackhead a sandwich, but you won't. She'll give the bum some money, but you won't. She'll look out for somebody else's children, but you won't. She live in my eye. If you brought it up to her, she would say, get that devil worshiping stuff away from me. Get me alone with that voodoo stuff. But she lives the principles.
Mama.
Mayat is the oldest delineated moral code in existence, which has been discovered so far. Mayat is the moral ideal of the Nile Valley high culture and civilization. Here are some of the images of Mayat with the outstretched woman on kneeling with the wings, feather on the head, which is supposed to be represent how light we are supposed to be and how we live. Mayat is the very foundation of creation, without which the creation is impossible. In the Bible, Mayat is referred to as wisdom. And God is operating with wisdom before the very creation of the universe. And through that copulation, through that entertainment with wisdom, then everything else is created. So now you have power, you have wisdom, and then the child is produces what? Understanding. That's the creation. Mayat is the embodiment of wisdom. Her symbols are a kneeling female with a feather on head with wings outstretched and or an ostrich feather. When you see the ostrich feather, that's Mayat. When you see the woman bowing on one knee with the wings outstretched, ostrich feather on head, that's Mayat. That's a symbol of Mayat. Mayat is special. Mayat represents divine femininity. Without Mayat, there is no creation. Mayat is a set of principles that were identified in the Nile Valley high culture and civilization, which allow us to express the highest development of our internal self, which also helps us develop outside of ourselves. You see how from the inside out as opposed to outside in, when you adopt an African-centered perspective, allows us to have victory, collective victory, communal victory, as opposed to following after Eurocentric models of what they say success might, is, or should be. When you take on Mayat, you become a better Christian. When you take on Mayat, you become a better Muslim. When you take on Mayat, you become a better Hebrew Israelite. When you take on Mayat, you become a better Moor, if Moor is such a thing as a religion, even though it's not. But people try to make it be today. Islam is the religion of a Moor. Did you know also that originally black Christianity was the religion of the Moors? Did you know that? Did you know that you had Moors that were also animists, who just dealt with the entire cosmos? Moor is not a religion.
Make
Moor
knowledge
is a label
born.
that's given to a certain group of people.
Make knowledge born.
Black man in the Nile family, Dr. Ben, African mother civilization. We the black Jews, Dr. Ben, African origins of the major Western religion. Why do we put this down here? Because that's how I came into contact with Mayat. Mayat deals with 42 negative confessions / declarations of innocence, which we read today. Mayat deals with 142 and 132 other declarations. Those were added over time because Mayat was living. And in the culture in which Mayat was found and created and compiled, there were several additions to Mayat. But we focus on the 42 and the 10 because those were the original. We focus on the 7 cardinal virtues and principles of truth, justice, harmony, balance, order, propriety, and reciprocity. And that is supposed to equal compassionate righteousness. Compassionate righteousness includes killing. Did you know that? Sometimes you have to kill people in order to protect others. It's compassionate righteousness. The compassion precedes the righteousness because righteousness can be speculative at times. Truth is that which is consistent with reality. There are many truths. Not all truths are appropriate, complete, or applicable, much less holistically accurate. You can be true about something and all the way wrong. All the way wrong because your timing is wrong. What is justice? Justice is corrective action for imbalances. It's retributive love in public. Justice is something that's very difficult if you're an oppressed person to achieve. The system of global white supremacy is not going to give black people justice. It cannot afford to give black people justice if it's going to stay on top. One of the examples is this little image right here. I'm trying to get up high enough so y'all can see it. All right. Now, they talked about equality and justice. This is equality. Everybody got the same thing, right? Does everyone have the same needs? No. This would be justice, where one boy gets 2 blocks because he's too short to see over the fence otherwise. The other young man keeps the 1 block because it's just tall enough. The other one is tall enough without it. We've got a thing that's going on now, and I'm so grateful for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, in my opinion, is one of the 3 best friends that black people have on the national political level. I'll repeat that. In my opinion, Donald Trump is one of the 3 best friends that black people have on the national political level. Because with a friend like Donald Trump, all the racists feel comfortable expressing themselves in front of you. He's like the Klan whisperer. When he speaks, or when he don't have to speak, if he just comes up in conversation, some kind of way that Klan, that KKK Klan stuff just wants to creep out and express itself. Hello, how you doing? Person who thought that we were best friends. Do you know I hate your guts? You pissed me off when you walk by looking good. I can't wait to tell you I hate you. Yes, we can have coffee. And you're like, wait, where is this coming from? Becky, we were friends. Biff, we were friends. Yeah, funny kind of friends, huh? Donald Trump is your best friend, one of your 3 best friends on the national political level. Because he makes the truth appear before your eyes in a way that's difficult to deny. Donald Trump's idea of equality and justice is closer to this. He said everybody can have the same thing. But he's grown tall through exploiting this little person. It's easy to talk about everybody can have the same thing, a meritocracy. Once you've grown tall through exploitation, you need reparations to get justice. You have to even it out for the ones who've been denied for so long. I say he's one of the 3 best friends. He ain't gonna do that, y'all. I hope you ain't holding your breath waiting for, matter of fact, truth be told, Donald Trump might very well give reparations. Because he'll shut black people up forever because some black people will take it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he made some concessions.
I wouldn't be surprised. He'd be smart enough to do it. Harmony is a fitting together, an agreement, concordance, unison, alignment, and congruity. It requires respect for the space of others. I saw a concert with Aretha Franklin, not Aretha Franklin, what's her name? Patti LaBelle and Dionne Warwick and Gladys Knight. And you know, all 3 of them could sing. But Patti LaBelle, she just blew the rest of them away. No harmony. She sings too strong. She's all over stage bopping. You know Gladys Knight and the other one couldn't keep up with her. They can't dance. They can't sing like that. There was no harmony, even though all of them were great. I just wanted to show you some models of what was stolen. Mayat being one of the original. This is actually Throuh, and then of course the copy is the American flag. So we've had other people that have copied also off of us over time. We've had Mayat as a personification of truth, justice, balance, law, and order. Then we get hip-hop. And hip-hop is all over the place because it represents creativity without appropriate purpose. So even though it might be telling the truth about the homicide, the killing, and how men feel about women when we have locker room conversations, that stuff ain't appropriate to be talking about in public. Strip club music and what you did at the strip club is not appropriate. Gay Rod Wilmore, Juwanza Kunjufu, Black Religion and Black Radicalism. One of the most important textbooks written on the black religious experience. When you deal with this book, you find out that some of these preachers know about this information about being Pan-African. But they can't preach that stuff. They can't teach it. They can't get to what we're talking about with the meiotic principles. We can't get to balance where we even out and have a dynamic recentering. We can't get to that because we don't have the requisite knowledge. We don't have the institutional reorientation to get to that. Here's meiotic again, balancing the scales. And then you see the European version where the scales are unbalanced on purpose. Order is that which is opposed to chaos, a purpose placing of things in a systemic or a systematic manner. When you have order, you don't just do things willy-nilly. You put things, one thing after the other on purpose. 2 goes after 1, 3 goes after 2, 4 goes after 3. You don't switch the numbers around and just make them be whatever you want them to be. Hot is always hot and cold is always cold. You don't mix it up to where you can't tell if hot is going to be hot or if cold is going to be cold. If up is going to be up or down is going to be up. We have to have some order. Propriety equals correct action. Therefore, you can have all of these things such as truth and justice, but it's not applied properly. So Mayat represents all of these things all at one time working together. It's a synergistic union, not just one thing. So it's not just enough to say Mayat, not just enough to speak Mayat, not just enough to memorize Mayat. We have to do Mayat. We have to live Mayat, be Mayat. Reciprocity equals the equivalent return. I have to put this in here because if you don't know what truth, justice, harmony, balance, order, propriety, and reciprocity means, we might get confused and think that you could just love everybody just like they are without nobody changing and then things are going to be okay. No, we do have to make some changes. We have to make some adjustments. We have to reorient our values so that our priorities and our behavior can change. But if we maintain the value system of Eurocentrism, then we can just go for anything and think it's going to be all right. These are the 42 ideals that we read earlier. We have to touch on these because if you don't have a code that you live by, something that you go in the mirror and do on a regular basis, then you might stray and start believing that because you are born in America, like Malcolm said, a cat can have kittens in the oven and that don't make them biscuits, right? We might believe that because we are American by habit and we're African on purpose. We're American by habit, but we're African on purpose. We have to want to be African. We have to choose to be African. We have to choose to apply these 10 virtues of Mayat. We suggest trying the 10 virtues of Mayat every night, before we go to bed. You read the 10 virtues in front of your mirror. For 30 days when you first begin, you write down the 10 virtues on a separate piece of paper every day. And I'll give you that challenge, and that allows us to get better as people. This achievement of a collective consciousness without consistent, yet appropriately flexible and practical moral center will fall like the Tower of Babel. That's why the foundation of a collective KRST Christ consciousness is essential. You can get people to come together. They can have a collective consciousness, but without a moral center, where is that going to lead to? The mafia is together. What is their moral center?
Yeah.
Get money? Get paid by any means necessary? Kill your grandmother, kill your brother? Have you listened to some of these rap songs recently? It's not enough just to know all the deities, even though that helps, because we should know about African gods and African deities. We should know about the 4,100 miles of the Nile Valley high culture and civilization that took place over 5,000 years, 6,000 years. That's just the recorded stuff. We should know about what Sir Ra knew and how to take that energy and turn it into music. We should know about the original mother and child. We should know about our men, meaning the hidden one. We should know about all of these things. But knowing them in and of themselves is not enough. That's a part of it, but it's not enough. We have to get to the living. Just think that this race of black men today are slaves, and the object of our scorn is the very race which we owe our art, science, and even the use of speech. This is Count Volney, who was blown away with his racist self. He was blown away with our monuments. And he had to even acknowledge in his own racist pen that we're the gods. That they owe everything to us. Here we are today. We're imitating imitators. We're imitating the people who imitate us. But we don't know that they're imitating us. We believe that they were first. And so we bang on each other. We fight with each other. We're confused. We have a level of awareness that something ain't right, something ain't going the way it's supposed to, but instead of focusing our guns at Godzilla, focusing at the dragon, at the beast, we aiming at each other, arguing over stupid stuff. We suffer from post-consciousness disorder. If you have any relatives or friends, family members or group members who suffer from post-consciousness disorder, I hope and pray that what we're bringing today will help them. Because I'm tired of it. I must tell you, I'm tired of it. I go on Facebook, I go on the internet, and what do I see? Folks banging. They ain't solving problems, though. And I love them for dropping knowledge. I love them for bringing information. But information in and of itself is insufficient to solve the problems of black people.
Indeed.
We have to reorient the institutions. If we don't do that, we ain't going nowhere. We're going to still be after awareness, Negro mess. Once again, typified by heightened pseudo-intellectual tension and counterproductive paranoia based on the recent discovery or renewed acknowledgement awareness of hidden information pertaining to black repression and inferiority under the domination of white supremacy. That's a lot of words. That's why I have to tell you, 1 part Negro mess plus 2 books and 3 lectures equals pro-black Negro scholar.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
They're doing too much reading or too much listening.
The reality of it is that sometimes it's 2 parts Negro mess and maybe Hidden Colors 1 and 2.
Indeed. Indeed.
Hey, you know, I won't tell you that you're wrong because I've seen that to be true. Sometimes if you have Christian family members and friends, the best thing you can do is give them Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3 and call it a day. I think they got part 4 out now, right?
Yeah.
You can put some Out of Darkness in there, some Urban Kryptonite, some Post-Traumatic Slave Diet. They have all those books and all, and those movies, those videos that help us that don't read. You know, and we're not knocking that, right? We have to meet people where they are, not where we want them to be. Okay, all right. We got to move beyond the performance-oriented pontification and get to the holistic health and wellness, the holistic healing, the communal building and uplift, the institutional reorientation. Sometimes that means you have to go back to church. Yeah, it does. I don't mean you got to live there, but you got to go back there. Sometimes you have to sit in Sunday school and just offer, you know, subtle truth.
A little light in the darkness.
Yeah, maybe that was maybe the water parted because it was a movie. It's not the Red Sea, it's the Sea of Reeds. You know, little things. We don't want to be the self-educated yet unbalanced individuals who drop knowledge but lack the holistic stability to consistently handle the storms of life, especially when we are addicted and afflicted by the same things we're accusing other people of being addicted and afflicted to. That's why the meiotic virtues are so important. It don't cost no money to stand in your mirror every night with a glass of water and recite the 10 virtues in your mirror. Don't require no extra money to wake up in the morning and read the 42 virtues of meiotic into a mirror. The 42 admonitions. It don't require no extra money. But by doing that, you reprogram yourself. And if you can get a few more other people to do that inside the study groups, you don't have to stop being a Nuwabian or Moor, Hebrew Israelite, or nationalist, or whatever you call yourself. You don't have to stop doing that to apply the meiotic virtues and principles. We're reprogramming ourselves. Why? Because we have to deprogram to reprogram. If we don't do that, then we're still following the program that have already been given to us. You cannot say you have not been programmed when I tell you, I ask you what's your name, and you give me your mother's and your father's name. That's programming. If I speak the tongue of English, I am programmed. If I can finish this song when I say 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on up, program. My bologna has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My bologna has a second name. It's M-E-Y-E. What am I doing eating a Jewish piece of pork and Jews don't serve pork? Program. Yeah, nobody ever told you about that, did they? You know any non-Jewish Myers? Okay. What am I doing eating a Jewish piece of pork?
Oh.
Just work with me now. Why am I eating a Jewish piece of pork?
Because we love oxymorons.
No, because we're ignorant. We don't know no better.
We love it.
Why? We love it because we're addicted to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. We don't know no better. We haven't examined this. We haven't broke this down. Our leaders haven't come to us with this. And if they did they stop serving bologna sandwiches? Because if you come tell me this stuff, and the only thing I can afford is bologna sandwiches, and you don't give me realistic options that I can literally walk into, then I'm going to still eat bologna sandwiches. No matter how much you tell me it's bad. You haven't given me the realistic, practical, and pragmatic methodology to escape from that addiction, escape from that affliction. Referring to someone as conscious is similar to another label with a more negative connotation. That label is crazy. Crazy is a rather dismissive term. Although it can lend towards helping us understand what's going on, with sometimes what we do. Crazy does not specifically say exactly what's wrong. That's why NAMI is so important with the National Association of Mental Illness. It helps us to accept some of the crazy that's within us, quote unquote, but also to more specifically identify what type of mental illness or developmental delay that some of us are undergoing. Many of us have stages of development which have not been properly met. And as a result, we keep going over the same problem over and over again. And we don't have the answer or the solution. And enough other people are not around us to help us with the answer or solution. And so we just keep repeating ourselves. We have stages of development which have not been met. And so we label crazy. But that's rather flippant and dismissive. Conscious is the same way, but not in a negative way. You know, oh yeah, she's conscious. She's conscious. But she loves Joel Osteen. I like Joel Osteen. He's very inspirational. But Joel Osteen ain't going to help you get free. Joel Osteen does not address white supremacy. Joel Osteen does not address black inferiority. Joel Osteen does not address the myopathy. Joel Osteen does not talk about Marcus Garvey. Joel Osteen does not talk about the UNIA. Joel Osteen does not speak about the work that the Nation of Islam has done to help black men in prison to become full-fledged citizens and better men, husbands and family members and community members. Joel Osteen does not talk about Bishop Jaramogi and the Shrine of the Black Madonna and taking down the white Jesus, the white deification, and putting up a black woman, the mother, and using the church as a vessel of salvation to give birth to a new generation of messiahs as a model that other churches should be emulating. Joel Osteen don't talk about that. He's very upbeat. If I was about to commit suicide and I call the suicide hotline, I want to talk to Joel Osteen. He'll make me keep my life. I don't have to knock Joel Osteen. I'm just highlighting Joel Osteen is not going to be race first for black people. Joel Osteen is race first for the maintenance of the white supremacy. Not because he's evil, whether he is evil or not. His actions are those that promote and support the status quo. While the value of both of these terms differ, they're somewhat vague in their description. The term awakening, however, allows us to apply greater accuracy in our description of varied levels of consciousness. So this awakening is a term I prefer more so than conscious. I use the term conscious out of convenience. I don't believe in a conscious community. I don't accept that. We ain't no community. And most of the people are aware, you're not sure what they're aware of. At what stage did they enter this race? You don't know. Did they become conscious from Malachi, New York, read a pamphlet? Are they here because they say they are more? They heard somebody say something, they just jumped on the back. Who are they? Where they come from? What they about? If you talk about being awakened, however, you can talk about the stages of awakening. The stages of awakening. I don't want to stay on this too long, but I want to touch on it. Are you awakened by being asleep in the bed under the covers with the head under the pillow? Are you awakened by being asleep in the bed under the covers with the head on the pillow? Are you awakened while being asleep in the bed but violently in a nightmare? Just tossing and turning. The white devil. Oh, the white devil. Oh, the white man is the devil. Oh, the devil. Violently, you're in the bed. You woke, but you asleep. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You never been to that middle stage where you like woke and sleep at the same time? Fighting. Asleep in the bed, turning to avoid waking up. I can see it, but I don't really want to see it. I can see that, yes, the Green Party candidate actually elucidates much of what I love. But I don't want to see that because they can't win. If I can't support them, that's if you're into politics. Maybe it might be something related to food. Yes, I know that green kale smoothie is healthy for me, but I don't really want to pay attention to that right now. I want this milkshake and this donut. You asleep, but you're turning to avoid waking up. You're in the bed awoke, but your eyes are closed. You woke, but your eyes closed. Yeah, you're like, eyes wide shut sometimes. It's hard to wake somebody up that's playing sleep. This is kind of like this kind of person. In the bed, awoke with the eyes open, but you're still in the bed. You're in the bed removing the covers. You're in the bed sitting up. You're in the bed with one leg out and one leg in. You might go back to sleep, you might get woke. In the bed with both legs out, but they dangling. They ain't touched the floor yet. You're in the bed with both feet on the floor, and you're gazing to wake up, stretch. We got a lot of people who wake up, who engage in the wake up stretch. They go to church, they go to mosque, they go to synagogue, they go to temple every week. And that's all they do. As long as they're doing that, they're satisfied. They ain't doing much else. They ain't cleaning up their life. They ain't cleaning up their community. They're just going through the motions of getting up out of bed, stretching. Go back to bed. Some people are in the bed with both legs out, but dangling, both feet on the floor, wake up stretching. Walking to the restroom. They're about to get cleaned up, y'all. They're returning to the bedroom. Take this back. My little clicker action is slow. Let me go backwards.
Want me to do it manually for you?
Come on, brother. Be honest. Be honest. My whole point in all of this, though, is to say that there are different stages of awakening. That's my whole point in all of this. When we deal with a person being conscious, you don't know what type of consciousness they are or are not. Maybe I'm aiming the wrong way. Huh?
Forward.
Yeah, victims of post-conscious disorder, whether awakened or deaf, dumb, and blind daydream are notorious for their immaturity as it relates to research. Rather than research for greater clarity that can promote collective healing, we seek information that will aid our egotistically competitive intellectual killing. I'm going to study to kick your butt. I'm going to study to prove that you're wrong. I'm going to skip over 7 or 8 points that agree and look for 2 or 3 to weaponize. As a result of this often misguided purpose to gratify the ego via pseudo-intellectually killing what we see as our competition, we go further and further apart, rather than more effectively closing ranks to wage war against the monsters, to wage war against the beast, to kill Godzilla, to kill the dragon. We don't aim our guns in that direction. We're too busy fighting against each other over tomatoes and tomato, potato and potato. I want to just highlight some of the teachers that came along with some of these groups that are today fragmented. Now, you don't know that most of this stuff comes from Marcus Garvey. When he split, a lot of folks went in other directions. We had Rabbi Wentworth, who was a Hebrew Israelite pioneer, Noble Drew Ali of the Moorish Science Temple, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, and he had plenty of students. All of these had different, they all produced different students. Each one of these schools of thought, which were a part of Garvey at one time, and Malachi Z. York of the Nuwaubian Nation. He's the most recent, who was able to form large groups of people that come together around a certain ideology. This is Clarence 13X, who comes from the nation, of gods and earth. Elijah Muhammad, J. Electronica, Clarence 13X, Nation of Gods and Earth. These 5%ers were viewed as both beneficial and troublesome due to the poor conduct of some of its members, some of whom, like LL Cool J, merely used the group as a cover to do their dirty work of robbing, stealing, and fighting, and worse. Many received too much information. Go back one slide, if you will. Many received too much information ahead of their developmental process. It's just like in martial arts. When you teach a person how to punch and kick and throw, but they haven't learned the discipline of how to clean the floor up and how to be good in the community and help the grandmother cross the street without robbing them, you haven't taught them the basic life skills, the personal discipline, the internal development. They receive too much information ahead of their developmental stage, and they lack the appropriate self-mastery for divine conduct. In other words, the God title was given too soon and too freely. All right? Now, I'm talking, this is a critique of the 5%ers, but it's not limited to the 5%ers of New York. It's not limited to the 5%ers of Clarence 13X. It's us, because we are the 5%ers. We worship money. We are the victims of Willie Lynch, and we have not reversed this process inside of our institutions. All right? We are the 5%ers. We represent that small group of people that want to go against the 10% who control the 85%, who exploit them based on the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Go back one slide if you don't mind, please, sir. Go forward one. Each perspective that we listed and going to list includes a series of mythologies designed to teach life lessons by way of establishment of a foundational dogma upon which its black adherents can better or best live our lives. Beyond the historical inaccuracies of each mythos, we should be concerned with what they have in common and what their function is. All right? I'm going to go through these briefly. The function of mythology and its utility. Just pause it right there if you will.
How do I do that?
Just push this button right here. Okay. And then just move away and push this when it goes. Okay, function of mythology. Mythology is designed to help us answer questions. So you build a mythology to tell a story that calms the human mind. The human mind has a lot of questions. There's nothing like an unanswered question to the human mind. The human mind is vexed by not having a question answered. It'll literally drive us crazy if we're not careful. All right? So we create mythologies that contain lessons in them in order to help us deal with that mental issue of not having the questions answered. Mythology represents the collective consciousness of a people. Once it's told over and over and over again, because it's going to have elements in it that deal with a certain culture. So when we deal with mythologies, we shouldn't deal with them whether or not they are actual factual. We should deal with them based on what they're designed. This is those of us who are at the higher level. We should deal with them based on what they're designed to answer, the question they're designed to answer. You've heard of the mythology of Yaqub, basically Islam?
Big head science.
Big head scientist. Takes a group of Africans, black people, Moors, goes off on an island, right? And he recreates these people. He gets the white people to come out of the light and the white to come out of the dark, all right? Through a certain process of what we would today call eugenics. And he reduces the dark and separates the dark from the light. And he has to give them a certain mentality of murder, death, and kill of the darker skinned people in order for the light skinned people to continue to be produced. So he tells the people to whittle them down. And so now you learn through that mythology that where white people came from is from black people originally. And as black people got lighter and lighter and the light mixed with the light, then you get the white. So instead of getting caught up with whether or not there was a Yaqub or a big hair scientist or an island, recognize that in isolation, white groups of people are produced from black people. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's built into that mythology. Also, why are the white people so evil? Why are white people so devilish? If they're not the devil, why are they so devilish? That's built into that mythology as well. Why? The big-head scientist told the other doctors to kill the dark-skinned babies. To kill the dark-skinned babies and save the light ones. So that created a greater love for light and eventually a hatred for dark. Y'all get what I'm saying? Built into the mythology is something dealing with curly hair and straight hair. Now, we have issues with that as Pan-Africans, but we understand that the mythology was designed to answer questions. And so they'll tell you that your hair was as straight as your eyelash. Your eyebrows, excuse me. And that nappy hair is a curse. Well, if you deal in the Islamic world, you find out that has been true since the light-skinned Arabs took over Islam. All right? And you can go everywhere you go, you're going to see that mythology. So black is hated everywhere you go. In India, they have the caste system where black is hated. In Arabia, you have different versions of Islam, but the more dominant version now, black is hated. In Christianity, you have Christendom. Christendom is the Roman version, the Roman takeover, the institutionalization of the Roman takeover of the belief system of being Christ-like. They call it Christendom. They have black hatred inside of there. Zoroastrianism, black hatred built in. So beyond the historical inaccuracies of every mythos, we should be concerned with the function of mythology and its utility. Next slide. Oops. I have to say that so we can stop fighting with each other. Because most of us don't take time to study each other's mythologies to understand their function. We deal with the fact that they're different. And we fight over the differences instead of understanding why, what questions does this mythology answer? That's more important. Once again, when we deal with the principles of Ma'at, you can let these roll. What did the Moors teach through Noble Drew Ali? We learned that nationality is the order of the day. Never choose another above your brother. The black man's true way centers upon the study and mastery of astronomy, geography, calculus, and astrophysics.
Islam.
That's what Noble Drew Ali taught. The historical Moors are different than Noble Drew Ali. He tried to connect them. Taj Tariq Bey, Empress Vertici, Sabir Bey, Ali Muhammad in New York, Red Pill and Blue Pill. These are some of the students. And many of them have come along recently. They're attempting to revive, to raise up Noble Drew Ali. The Hebrew Israelites, pause this one, please. History and teachers, they teach that formerly enslaved black people need to consciously reclaim our Hebrew Israelite identity in name, custom, and deed in order to receive and be worthy of divine intervention. God gonna save us if we live by the Bible. The white man is devilish. He's not always the devil, sometimes he's just a devil. Whose only redemption is the adoption of the biblically ordained lifestyle, especially the Old Testament. So they accept the Khazar to some degree. They accept the Ashkenazi to some degree. They accept the Sephardic Jew to some degree. So some versions will tell you, of Hebrew Israelites, will tell you that the white man is not the devil, he's just devilish. Others will tell you he's devilish, he's the devil. Others will tell you that he just exemplifies some of the worst characteristics as a result of not following the lifestyle of the Bible. And some of them will tell you that all human Go ahead. Rabbi Divine, Ben Ami, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and a host of others represent some of the notable students. Represent some of the notable students. Also, we got this other brother named Taza. Help me with that name.
Cesaria.
Tazaria, yeah.
ISUPK.
And he's a little bit different than some of the rest of them. He's a little bit more brutal. The Nation of Islam, the black man is God and should conduct himself accordingly. Yet we must be retaught the true nature due to amnesia acquired by way of traumatic violence. The white man is the devil, not a devil, and cannot be reformed. All previous prophets have tried and failed. You will need a string around your finger to remind yourself of his yoke. Once we come into the true knowledge of self. Once the black man learns that he is God, the black woman learns that she is God, and we operate in that knowledge, then we don't have to worry about the white man no more. Now, I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, what he don't tell you is how much killing you have to do to get to that. Yeah. Believe it or not, you have to start killing black people before you get to the white people. Indeed. Even if you started off killing white people, you have to go kill the black people that would protect the white people.
Indeed.
He don't talk about that too much. He uses the metaphor of spaceships coming out of the sky to deal with that. But really, the only spaceship that's going to come out of the sky is you. And when we talk about killing white people, we're not just talking about indiscriminate killing. We're talking about the end of white supremacy in education, economics, entertainment, law, labor, politics, religion, sex, and war. We're talking about using the institutions inside the educational facilities to teach the true knowledge of what the African contribution was to the world. As you do that over time, you kill white supremacy. White supremacy don't have a leg to stand on once you tell the truth. Once you show in entertainment what the truth is, that Cecil B. DeMilo was telling a lie with Moses, once you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about that anymore. I keep going on and on. Go ahead. Separation is necessary for reformation of the black man and woman in our true identity, true divinity. The purpose of Islam was the true knowledge of self and our kind. This equates to the knowledge of God. Elijah Muhammad taught us differences about our names, our diet, our appearance, our attire, and more. Go ahead. All of this is important because if we study in this to say what's different as opposed to what did he teach, we mess up. Clarence 13X, Mr. Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Khalid Abdul Muhammad, local FOI, Throuh Islam, and MGT, Muslim Girls Training, Ava Muhammad are some of the notable students of Elijah Muhammad. I'm assuming since y'all here with Dr. Cal, y'all know most of this stuff. Clarence 13X taught the more watered down, no, you go. Clarence 13X calls this one. Taught the more watered down version through the 120. I already made reference to him that he taught some things out of order. Not that his information was bad, but he didn't teach the discipline part that went along with the knowledge. He didn't have the ma'atic virtues. He would mention ma'at, but he wasn't incorporated inside the institutional framework. Malachi Ziyor from the Nubian nation. Now he's special. Does anybody know why Malachi York is special? He's the most special on this list. Does anybody know? Raise your hand if you know why.
I'm gonna take a crack at it.
No, not because he's crazy.
That's how I'm taking a crack at it. I'm
Yeah,
to the,
well, I'm gonna say it because he's special because, like you have special needs. He's the student that you have to pay the most attention to.
true.
He's also the most talented student of everyone that I named. What made him so talented and special? He studied everybody else's thing. And he became everybody else.
Indeed.
And then he waged war with everyone else. And everyone he waged war with, he took something from them and added it to his own. Now, to us,